Welcome back. And so this time we head to Delta State. Yesterday we saw youths from Warri part of the state suspend operations from a 28,000 barrel facility that's operated by Renaissance Oil, formerly operated by Shell. And what was their protest? The delineation of wards carried out by INEC that did not favor the Shekiri ethnic group. And of course, this followed a 2022 Supreme Court judgment ordering INEC to embark on ward delineation. But there may just be a history behind this ward delineation exercise brought before the courts by a certain individual. But we're going to get insight into all of this, the agitation of the Shekiri, who it is that brought, of course, this case before the Supreme Court, and if its impact on representation of the various ethnic groups in Delta State. So joining us to have this conversation this morning on the program, we have from Warri, Delta State, Dr. Paul Bebe Nimibo. He's the Ijaw focal person. He joins us virtually from Warri, Delta State. Now, it's an interesting development, and you know, when you look at it, it goes way back. But I'd like you to be the one to give us a backstory as to this case that was presented before the Supreme Court, ordering INEC to commence ward delineation. Who were the initial parties that brought the case to the Supreme Court?
Good morning, Bukola, for having me. Yes, let me give you a little background to this issue. Before 1996, the Warri Federal Constituency was having two local government areas, Warri South and Warri North. Then in 1996, October 1 precisely, the then late Sani Abacha's government created additional local government area, and it was called Warri South. And it was explicitly for the Ijaws of Baramatu, Ogbijo, Isaba, and Debri, with 10 wards, with 10 electoral wards. So, and the headquarters was in Ogbijo and Ijaw community. Thereafter, an election was conducted for the 10 wards, and Honorable Kopo Loromoni, now the traditional ruler of Ogbijo Kingdom, emerged as the chairman. He ruled for 3 months. The Shekiris were agitated that they want to be part of the local government area. And they took this thing extensively. At the end of the day, they were brought in with 2 wards, and the Ijaw wards were reduced to 4. Then at the end of the day, the Shekiris had 6 wards in Warri Southwest. That ultimately brought about skirmishes around that time in Warri area. The Ijaws were agitated, and eventually this led to a violence, protest, and crisis. But as time goes on, the Ijaws approached the court. We found out that we need to do things to follow due process. So we went to court, the Federal High Court. From there, the matter went to the appeal court. I just want to be precise. I don't want to begin to pick everything. So the matter went to the Supreme Court, and eventually, as you said, December 2022, the judgment that was given was that Supreme Court ordered INEC to go back and do electoral ward and unit delineation. That ab initio, there was no exercise that has been done as regards to delineation of wards and units.
So you can land on your thoughts, sir, before I come in.
Okay, fine. So INEC now invited the stakeholders. Since it's a Supreme Court judgment, there's no way you can take it again. So invited the stakeholders from the 3 ethnic groups, the Ijaws, the Shekiris, and the Urhobos. We are the people that occupy the Warri Federal Constituency, what they call Warri Federal Constituency, with 3 local government areas: Warri South, Warri Southwest, and Warri North. So we are all invited for a meeting, I think precisely on the 4th of February, 2023. We're saying that election ought not to be conducted in the Warri Federal Constituency for the 2023 election. But election is a process. So INEC pleaded with us that we should allow them to conclude the election of 2023. Then thereafter, they will take up the exercise to do the proper delineation of electoral wards in the Wari Federal constituency, which they followed up. While I'm called a focal person, there are the three tribes also have, all of us have focal persons. Them in Ijaw, we have three focal persons, and one of them, the Urubos are three focal persons, the Shekiris are three focal persons. We are to mediate between INEC and our people on the ground, which we have been doing. All the three ethnic groups participated in the process, and it culminated in the creation of additional wards from 30 to 57 wards in the Wari Federal constituency. As it stands, INEC actually did a thorough job. They went to the creek, they went to the fields to collect data, which the Shekiri people participated, the Urubos participated, we all participated. It was fair, free and fair. The process was clear and clean.
But not according to the Ishekiri, from what we saw at yesterday's protest, during which they shut down the facility. But the summary of what you have said is that under the old arrangements, the Ijaws felt shortchanged, and that's why they went to court. But from reports from yesterday, from the delineation exercise that INEC carried out, for Warri North local government area, the Ijaw has 10 of the 18 wards, while Ishekiri has 8 wards. For Warri Southwest, Ijaw has 15 wards to Ishekiri's 4. And in Warri South, Ijaw has 3 out of the 20 wards, while Ishekiri and Urobo have 8 and 9 wards respectively. So the Ishekiri are saying that they have been shortchanged, and that in fact the implication of this is an encroachment on their land. So I'd like you to respond to that.
Yes, that is not true. Now, like I said earlier on, the Supreme Court did say that there was no any electoral delineation that has taken place in the Warri Federal constituency before. It was done arbitrarily. They just allocated wards to the communities and kingdoms, and it was done arbitrarily. So the jobs were shortchanged in that arrangement. The Urubos were shortchanged in that arrangement. That was why we went to court and eventually got the judgment that they should go back and do a fresh delineation of wards and units. It wasn't done before. So the outcome is now reflecting the true position of things. INEC did not just go and write words to bring up this current arrangement. They went to the field. They took data. They went to the Robo areas. They went to the Shekiri area. They went to the Joy area to collect this data with cartographic equipment and so on. They have satellite images of the communities. They know the size of the population of these places. So the reflection you are seeing now today, for instance, the Warri North government area, they just were having a 4 wards before. Then the Shekiris were having 6. It was arbitrarily allocated to them before. But with this current arrangement, which was done in a very transparent manner, the Ijaws are having 10 wards, while the Shekiris are having 8 wards. Then in the case of Warri Southwest, the Ijaws were having 4 wards, and the Shekiris were having 6 wards. People that know that terrain very well know that the Shekiris are just a handful of persons around that area. So this new arrangement now gives the Ijaws 15 electoral wards, while the Shekiris 5 electoral wards. Then as for Warri South, which is the urban government area, the Urubos were having, I think, 2 or 3 wards, but now they have 9 wards. Then the Shekiris were having about 6 or 7 wards, but they now have 8 wards. Then the Ijaws, because the Ijaw wards in Warri Urban were suppressed before now. They were there before. In the old arrangement, the old divisional arrangement there, Warri Division, Pluto Division, and so on, there were wards that owned by Ijaws before. They were suppressed. But this arrangement, which was done in a transparent way, has revealed those secrets them. And the Ijaws had 3 wards in Warri South now. So this arrangement has, for me, brought about peace and justice in this Warri area. We have suffered so long, in Warri here. if you can see, Warri doesn't have life again because of the crisis we had before now. It's time for us to build on this. God has blessed us with resources that we use to build our areas to live comfortable life. But if we continue like this, to drag each other from one point to the other, it won't do us any good. For me, I want to appeal to our people that they should dwell on truth. Those stakeholders that attended all these meetings for almost 2 years before the outcome here should be able to educate their people, tell them the processes that led to
just a
this
moment.
Yes.
When you say it has brought peace, I think you're speaking in the interest of the Ijaw people. The Shekiri people are apparently not happy. You see what happened with the blocking of that facility in terms of our oil production and all of that. It looks like a situation where you win some, you gain some, you lose some, you gain some. So maybe you can reiterate to us what the Warris had lost. Sorry, the Ijaws had lost. I know you have said it, but just for emphasis, had lost and they are now gaining, and what the Shekiris had gained on and they are losing. So that maybe for the listener who is a bit confused as to the number, will be able to appreciate what exactly went on. And given what has played out right now and the delineation that has been done by INEC, what do you think is actually the way forward? Because Supreme Court action by INEC eventually to carry out the decision of the Supreme Court, rather than bring peace, is resulting in what you're seeing on television.
Okay, Geoffrey, like I said just now, that those of us, the stakeholders, like I'm a focal point person from Ijaw. The Shekiri has 3 focal point persons. Apart from those ones, they also add another 12 stakeholders. We are attending this meeting. Let them go back home and tell their people the truth. They participated from this process from February 4th, 2023. They participated from that process up till this moment. They went to the field too. They went to the field too. So for me, they should tell their people that, look, this matter, has been decided, and it's decided in good faith for the Ijaws, the Shekiris and the Urhobos. Let us live in peace. Let's live peaceably with each other. In fact, we have suffered so long in this crisis, and when I said that it has brought peace and justice, it's because it's not that the right thing has been done. We have been dwelling on falsehood all this while. I'm not only brief for INEC, but INEC actually did a thorough job. And if independent people want to come and verify the process, for me, they should allow them to verify the process, because there are images there that clearly shows the population, the settlements, the contiguity of the communities, and so on. A lot of things were taken into consideration before they arrive at this process. So let people be educated. Let us not dwell in ignorance to cause trouble in Warri. One cannot just begin to call out people to be violent because of this process. It won't work. It doesn't augur well. So for me, let the Shekiri people be educated. Let them understand the process before they take any step.
Some will say that's easy for you to say because you're not on the receiving end, as it were. Naturally, you will not agree with them, and I think that's been the challenge. This has gone from different courts to even the federal level, the INEC itself. But clearly, the Shekiri are not going to take this sitting, and that's why we see the impact first on the oil production, at least at that particular facility. So beyond you asking them to be educated on this, which they'll tell you, well, we know the facts for ourselves. All we want is fairness. Setting aside perhaps the ego, as it has been described by some people, or the fact that, well, I think it favors me, so you can just keep crying. There needs to be some sort of resolution. And if this will happen, everybody needs to come to the table and first resolve this. Is that something you're willing to do or be a part of?
Kayode, see, we have been in that process. Like since February 4th, 2023, we have started that process. The Urhobos, the Shekiris, the Ijaws, we all represented in the process. We all saw the way INEC went about the process. So it's not something that one party was excluded, that they don't know how the INEC arrived at this new arrangement. So we are together in the process. For me, let's live beyond, those days, those evil days where Warri was, thrown into crisis. Let's live beyond those days. Let us approach issues in a very pragmatic way, in truth. The Shekaris, they know that nobody shall change them. It's what is on ground that is reflecting. I believe so. They have been claiming that they have more population, but we have made this thing clear over and over. We have made this thing clear. Then the Shekaris doesn't have Warri, doesn't own Warri. There are records everywhere, but we have come to this level that there's no need for us to begin to speak violence. Some eminent Shekari persons have come up to the internet and call for violence, which of course it is not good. Such people them supposed to educate their people to imbibe peace, particularly now that we have arrived, we have arrived in this process. Let this thing be. There's no way you can fault this INEC because we're all involved. The Shekaris were involved in the process until we went to the feed July 11 last year. We went to the feed. The robots went to the feed. The Ijaws went to the feed. The Shekaris went to the feed. INEC monitored the process and came out with this result. Nobody influenced it. In fact, your reporter was there when this report was handed over to the stakeholders last week Friday in Asaba.
All right.
INEC did not even open the thing. They sealed it and handed over it to the respective stakeholders. Go and look at your paper.
Dr.
We all left and go and look at the paper and saw what was there. Nobody had the prior knowledge of what INEC came up with. So please let this reign.
All right, Dr. Paul.
I'm telling my secretary brothers them.
In just a few seconds, can you just mention those areas that you say are evidently Ijaw? Because we're going to give the Shekiri a right of reply.
Okay. Now, in Warri Southwest, the Paramatu is exclusively for Ijaw people. Then Paramatu, everybody knows the size of Paramatu. Ijaw Kingdom is Ijaw Kingdom. It's a very large one. Isaba Kingdom is also Ijaw Kingdom.
Paramatu,
Kingdom.
All right. We'll definitely give the Shekiri a right of reply on this particular conversation. We must thank you very much, Dr. Paul Bebenimibo, the Ijaw focal person who has joined us to give the insight and the backstory to this conversation. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
And from here, we move on to another conversation on the program. We're going to be looking at the power of digital marketing to enhance your brand. So you benefit from this. Join us again. We'll be right back.